All right. This is week 9 of 1 Year No Excuses. And this week, yeah, this was not a perfect week. That seems to be becoming my pattern, but honestly, I don't think I've had a perfect week yet. And for the purpose of this episode, I'm actually glad it was not a perfect week because if you're waiting for perfect weeks to feel like you're making progress, you're gonna quit real fast. So today I want to talk about what to do when things don't go according to plan because that's where most people fall off. But let's first start by getting into the checklist. All right, here is where I landed this week. For daily Bible reading, I'm giving myself a partial. For prayer, I'm embarrassed to say that I got another no. Carnivore diet is another partial. My book of the month, yes, I did make some progress. My no social Sunday did not have one. Studying for my new skill, yes. And podcast progress was yes. So, I mean, not a great week. But let's call a spade a spade. I'm not here to pretend like I crushed everything because clearly I did not. And as I said, well, I haven't yet this week, but I didn't quit either. Um, I've completed my first course and gotten started in my second, working towards my AI engineering certification. I'm caught up on my daily Bible reading. I'm making progress with my health and my weight loss. Things are happening despite imperfections along the way. Excuse me. Now let's look at what did happen. So I fasted on Monday and I used that as a reset for my digestive tract. That's probably going to become a weekly thing for me. Actually, that is already a weekly thing for me. I am sleeping better. I'm not snoring as much, and I'm taking fewer trips to the bathroom during the night. That's probably the most real and noticeable improvement I have experienced. Um, I also finished the first module in my second course for my AI engineering certification. And as of March 4th, my weight is down to 240.8 pounds. If you'll recall, I started at 271.2, I think. Don't hold me to that. I don't have the number in front of me, but that's a total of, if I did the math right here, 30.4 pounds this year. 30.4 pounds. I feel pretty darn good about that. And I didn't get there by being perfect. That's kind of the point of today's episode. So I don't know. I suppose for some people, perfection is the goal, but it shouldn't be. Consistency should be the goal. And in my case, it is. Perfection isn't the same as consistency. Consistency leads to progress. And yes, I'm just reading from my notes here, but most people think consistency means doing everything perfect every day, but it doesn't. It just means you don't disappear or shut down or quit when things go sideways. That's what I want to emphasize today. So let's talk about failure for a minute, or what people like to call failure. I think what many of us call failure isn't truly failure, it's just a bad day. It might have been a bad choice or a missed habit. People treat it like the whole thing is over. And I think that's a problem. Um, so I'm thinking thinking the reason that a lot of folks fail to achieve their goals is because they allow one or two simple mistakes or bad choices to dampen their spirits. You missed one workout. I guess I'm off track. Or or you ate something you shouldn't have. Welp, I might as well restart next week. No, that's emotional decision making. Um, I read I read where psychologists call this, pardon my French, but this is their term for it, not mine. The what the hell effect, which means when people slip once, they're more likely to completely abandon the goal. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Consumer Research found that when people violated their goals, even slightly, they often responded by going all in on the behavior they were trying to avoid. Translation: you messed up a little, then you really mess up simply because you decided it didn't matter anymore. Now, another hard truth is that motivation is really unreliable. Another study here from the American Psychological Association showing that habits, not motivation, are the primary drivers of long term behavior change. Motivation, it gets you started. It's what got me started this year. But systems or developing habits, that's what keeps you going. And when you don't have a system, every bad day feels like the end. You're maybe you're just measuring the wrong thing. Instead of looking at the day, you should be looking at the overall trend. Let me give you a real world example from my own week. Did I hit everything? No. You heard a lot of no's at the beginning of this episode, but I still made progress toward my AI certification. I still lost weight. I still fasted. Overall, I kept moving forward. If I judged this week in isolation, one on the one of the basis of any one day where I saw more no's than yeses, it looks like failure. I haven't had an all no day yet. I don't think. I'll have to go back and look through all my notes. But when I zoom out and look at the bigger picture, I see progress. Look for the progress, folks. Don't dwell on the failures. Oh my goodness, excuse me. I just belched. I hope that did not come through the microphone. Whew, I apologize if it did, because I'm not going back to re-record this. Having an all or nothing mindset is one of the fastest ways to quit anything. Either you're perfect or you're off the rails. There is no middle ground, but real progress actually lives in that middle ground. Let me see. I've got another study here from the Health Psychology Review. They found that sustainable behavior change is strongly tied to flexible thinking, not rigid perfection. In other words, people who allow themselves to recover from mistakes, they tend to outperform people who demand perfection almost every time. Um, so, what do you actually do when you mess up? Well, let's keep it practical. Maybe this is where most people need help. So, let's start with step one. Don't make it a bigger deal than it is. You missed a day. That's it. But one day doesn't a pattern make. Let me say that again. One day does not a pattern make yet. Don't turn it into one by quitting. Step two, reset immediately. Don't say I'll restart Monday. I know Monday seems like an easy start day or the first of the following month because it's easier to track, but really, no, you need to do it immediately. Not Monday, not next week, right now. If you messed up at lunch, dinner becomes your reset. If you skipped your habit this morning, do it tonight. The faster you reset, the less damage it's going to do. Step three, shrink the target. If you can't hit 100%, and most of us can't hit, then go for 50. If you can't hit 50, hit 10, but do something because momentum matters more than intensity. And honestly, on that third step, I am considering some changes to some of my goals over the coming weeks. I haven't made the decision to change anything yet, but I'm realizing that there are certain goals I've made for myself that I'm really struggling to hit. But instead of throwing it out the door and just forgetting that it was something I wanted to change this year, maybe I just need to modify it. So, step four, stop negotiating with your step. We have got to stop with yourself. We've got to stop negotiating with ourselves, and because we make excuses like I'll do it tomorrow, or I deserve a break, or it's been a long day. That voice that's always in the back of our head, it's us. It's us, and nobody else. That's the same one that will keep you stuck for the next 5 years. And at some point, you've got to decide, am I doing this or not? Step five, accept that most weeks will look like this. We've got to accept that most weeks are going to not be perfect. This week was not a perfect week for me. This is normal. Perfect weeks are the outliers. They aren't normal. So this week you had some partial wins. I had some partial wins, maybe a few misses, yet we made progress. That's the real process. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? Because look, if I had to quit every time I had a week like that I had this past week, I wouldn't be down 30 pounds. I'd probably be heavier than when I started. I wouldn't be progressing towards my certification in AI engineering. I wouldn't be sitting here recording my 10th episode of this podcast. I mean, I'd be starting all over again and again and again. So I said a lot in this episode, and I might have been a little too critical. I don't know. But I'm trying to help. Um, I don't think we need to aim for perfection when we're pursuing our goals. I think we should aim for a week where we don't quit, and that's it. That's the whole game. Because the people who win at this, they're not the most disciplined. They're not the most motivated. They're just the ones who keep going after, who keep pursuing when they mess up. They don't stop. So if your week looked like mine, good. You're in it. Now keep moving on. I'll see you next week.